Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel At Home with Chelle. In today's video I'll be showing you 6 healthy meal ideas that are easy and super tasty. I've put the full recipes for any dinner that I've mentioned on my website At Home with Chelle. This will include all the quantities that are required for each recipe, and it can also be printed off if you require to. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name's Michelle and I upload videos every single week. If you like this kind of content, then I would love for you to subscribe. It's currently Sunday and we're going to the farm today, so I thought I would do a slow cooker meal. So we're going to have the beef Cuban dish from the Pinch of Nom book, so it's all ready for us when we get home. First things first, you want to get all of your ingredients ready. So you'll need some stewing steak. You can either get it ready cut or you can just have it like this and cut it yourself. Then you will need 2 onions, some red wine stock pots, a couple of beef stocks. In here we have some white wine vinegar, a mixture of peppers, so I've just got whatever we had in the fridge. Then you will need your herbs, so you'll need some garlic, salt, turmeric, oregano, a couple of bay leaves, pepper, ground cumin and some tomato puree. And then you'll just want some rice to serve, or mashed potato, whatever you want to serve it with. First thing that you want to do is cube your beef and then brown it for around 5 minutes in a frying pan. Once you've browned your beef, you then want to add in all of the remaining ingredients. So add in your sliced peppers and your sliced onions to your slow cooker. Then add tin tomatoes. I forgot to mention the tin tomatoes at the beginning, but you need a tin of tomatoes too. Then you want to add in your stock made with 2 stock cubes. Then you want to add in all of your herbs. Then just crush in your garlic. Add the red wine stock pot. Then the last thing you want to do is add in the brown beef. I forgot the white wine vinegar, so just add that in as well. Then you want to give the whole thing a really good stir. Once you've given it a good stir, you want to put it on either high. So if you put it on high, then it will be ready in 6 hours. Or if you put it on a medium to low heat, it will take around 8 hours. So we want it in about 6 hours. So I'm going to put it on high, and then there you have it. Just leave it for 6 hours and I'll show you what it looks like when we come back. It's now about 6 hours on from when we put it on. So I'm just going to check and see how it's doing. The smell is just amazing. So at this point, the beef should literally just tear away. What you want to do now is just basically go through this and flake it, and then it's ready to serve. I've just got back from work and we've got a dinner that is super easy tonight. We're going to have a sausage, red pepper and potato bake. It's so easy, you literally just put everything together, put it in the oven, and then just under an hour later and the whole thing is ready to eat. First thing you want to do is get all of your ingredients out. So you'll need some new potatoes, some sausages, a few drizzles of balsamic vinegar, a mixture of peppers, so red, yellow, green, whatever you've got. I find red generally works best. A couple of red onions, a couple of garlic cloves, a small bit of thyme. This recipe does work best if you use cherry tomatoes, but unfortunately I used them the other day, so this is what I had in the fridge. So I'm just going to use a couple of tomatoes too. So all I've done is basically chop all the vegetable up, halved most of the potatoes, cut the onions into wedges, the peppers into slices, and cut the tomatoes into probably 8ths, and then just put it in a oven dish, like a casserole dish or a baking dish, anything that you've got handy really. Drizzle it with olive oil, salt and pepper, and the time, and then this goes in the oven for around 15 minutes. After you've baked the potatoes and the peppers in the oven for about 15 minutes, to take it out, give it a stir, stir in the crushed garlic, and then lay your sausages on top. Drizzle with a little bit more olive oil, and then put that back in the oven for around 30 minutes. After about 30 minutes, you want to get this out the oven, give it a good stir so you can see the sausages are really cooked on one side. Turn all the sausages over, and then you want to give it a drizzle with some balsamic vinegar. Just a quick drizzle over everything, and then back in the oven for another 15 minutes, and then it's ready. We're also going to serve ours with some corn on the cob. You can serve it with whatever you want, so some extra veg or salad. We just had these in the fridge, so I'm just going to put these on now whilst the sausage is cooking in the oven. After about another 15 minutes, it should be ready to serve. Oh, it smells amazing. There we have it. Sausage bake with potatoes and pepper. It's Tuesday evening, and tomorrow I'm going to see Tamsin at university, so tonight I'm going to make a large portion of spaghetti bolognese. I know everyone has their own way of making bolognese, and I'd be really interested to see what yours is. I'll show you mine. Whenever I make a bolognese, I always like to batch cook a load anyway, and especially for tonight because I'm going to take some to Tamsin at university. So as always, the first thing you want to do is get all of your ingredients out. So you'll need 1 onion, some minced beef. I like to buy the steak mince 5% fat version. This is 750 grams. I like to add a red wine stock pot in here. I've got all my herbs. So I just put basil, oregano, salt and pepper and a bay leaf in. And then I've got a basil plant and I add some fresh basil at the end. I like to add passata and tin tomatoes. I also like to make it as jam-packed with veggies as possible. So I add 3 peppers, some mushrooms and a courgette. And I always like to add some Lea & Perrins Worcestershire sauce to the bolognese mix, and then I'll just serve with some spaghetti. The first thing you want to do is prepare all your vegetables. So I generally just like to get everything sliced up, so I'll start by slicing the onions, then I will slice the peppers, courgettes and mushrooms. I just like to do this, put it all in a bowl, and then it's all ready and I can get on with cooking. First thing that I do is to fry the onions in a couple of spritzes of fry light for around 5 to 10 minutes until they're slightly translucent in colour. The onions are lovely and soft. I then add in the minced beef and basically keep breaking it up and brown it all over. Whilst the mince is browning, I crumble over a beef stock cube and towards the end of the time crush in the garlic. After about a minute, you then want to add all of the veg. Now this is why I think I definitely should have used a bigger pan. Then you just want to gently fry with the veg in there for around 5 minutes. So I gave in and just swapped saucepans because the other one was way too small for how much I'm making. Once you've left this for about 5 minutes, just kind of keep frying it and stirring it around just so it takes the bite off some of the veg in there. Then you want to add your chopped tin tomatoes, your passata, red wine stock pot, a couple of dashes of the Lea & Perrins Worcestershire sauce. Give it all a good stir. And then you want to leave that simmering on a low heat for around 20 minutes. While the bolognese is simmering away nicely, you want to get your spaghetti on. A couple of minutes before the end of the cooking time, just want to break in some fresh basil leaves. And then one thing I like to add in at the last minute, which sounds a bit weird, is a level tablespoon, not tablespoon, is a level teaspoon of sugar. So it's nearly done, so I'm just waiting for another couple of minutes for the spaghetti to be done, and then it's ready to serve up. Tonight for dinner we're going to have lamb kofta curry, which is basically a lamb meatball dish in a tomato kind of curry base with some rice. First things first, you want to get your ingredients ready. So you'll need some lamb mince, some rice to serve it with, ideally some fresh coriander, a tin of chopped tomatoes, some tomato puree, and then you'll need a few herbs as well. So you'll need some salt, cumin seeds, ground coriander, ground cumin, chili powder and ground coriander. You'll need a couple of garlic cloves and a chili. So you can use red or green chili, whatever you've got in. The first thing you want to do is to make the actual meatballs themselves. So you want to grab a bowl and put your lamb mince in here, and then you want to get your chopped chili, the ginger and some chopped fresh coriander. Add that into the bowl, and with this you also want to add in, so I also had one of the garlic cloves in there. Then you want to add in the garam masala and a small bit of the salt, so about half the salt. And then you basically just want to mix this all together. You don't need to add anything else, so you don't need to add egg or anything like that. Mix all of this together. Once it's all mixed in, make around 20 meatballs with it. Once you've made all the meatballs, you then want to put a pan on with some oil in it, and then just quickly you want to fry the cumin seeds. Fry them in the oil for about a minute or two until they start to splutter. Once that happens, you then want to add in a chopped onion. So I forgot to mention in the ingredient that you need an onion. So at this stage you just want to add in your chopped onion, chopped ginger and the other garlic clove. I'm using a pan like this as opposed to a frying pan, as it's easier for the meatballs to cook because they actually cook in the sauce itself. After about 5 minutes, the onion should have went nice and soft. Then you want to add in the rest of your sauce ingredients. You want to pour in your tin tomatoes, rest of your herbs, and about a tablespoon of tomato puree. Give it all a mix in, bring to the boil, simmer it for about 5 minutes before adding your meatballs. Once the sauce has simmered for about 5 minutes, then want to add your meatballs. If you want, you can actually make the meatballs a day before and put them in the fridge, or you can even freeze them and then defrost them. Just so all you've got to do is make the sauce. Just mix a few in. You just want to make sure they're mixed in. Be careful when you're mixing them in that you don't disturb them too much, that they become misshapen. But basically you just want to try and cover them in sauce. Don't worry if it looks quite thick at the moment, because when they start cooking it goes a lot runnier. So once they're all stirred in, you then want to bring it to the boil. You want to add on a lid and leave it to simmer for around 20 to 25 minutes. So whilst the meatballs are cooking away nicely, so you can see the additional sauce in there now, then I will put my rice on. So I normally do 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. After about 20-25 minutes, your meatballs should be cooked. So now it's time to dish up with your rice. So following the method that I mentioned earlier, you just get perfect rice. No need to rinse it or strain it or anything. It's just perfect every single time. Here we are, lamb kofta meatball curry. So you can add a couple of sprigs of fresh coriander, and sometimes I like to add some natural yogurt as well. So in total this took around 45 minutes. If I'd have made the meatballs earlier, which you can do, then it only takes 25 minutes to cook, which isn't actually that bad for a curry that you're making from scratch. I would definitely recommend this one. I've made this hundreds of times and it's so fresh tasting and fantastic and just a bit different to having chicken curry all the time. So yeah, definitely one I would recommend making yourself.
So I'm going to make dinner tonight because Michelle's just got in from work, so we're going to make something really simple as it's getting on. So we're going to make a chicken pesto pasta with some mozzarella and tomatoes. So these are all your ingredients out. We need some chicken, some pesto, fusilli pasta, or you can use any pasta really, but this is the one we've got, mozzarella, basil, and some tomatoes. Very simple, hardly anything in it. And it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes to make. So we've preheated the pan, I've used some fry light in there, probably about 10 sprays. Just going to do some chicken now, so we'll fry this off and the chicken will fry on a medium heat. It'll probably take around 10 minutes, so I don't want the pan too hot. I'll keep it medium and then yeah, we'll just keep turning the chicken and see when it's cooked. Whilst the chicken's cooking, we're going to pour the water into the pasta because the pasta probably takes about 12 minutes anyway. So we're about 10 minutes in now and the chicken's cooked. I'd just like to double check by making sure, by doing that. The pasta's now ready, so we'll drain the pasta and then we'll show you what we do next. Okay, so the pasta's drained and now what we need to do is just pop everything in. So we get the chicken first, pop that in there, just give it a quick mix so it's already in the pasta, and then we've got the rest of our ingredients here. So we'll slide in the tomatoes. We need to rip this up into little bits so it goes all into the pasta, and what that'll do is it will melt through once we give it a good mix. And then just tear up the basil. Okay, so we've transferred this to a bigger bowl and we've got one more ingredient to go, which is our pesto. So we'll probably put in around 2 tablespoons here. And then, again, give it a really good mix. And as you'll see, the cheese has already started to melt. So that's it, we're finished. 10 minutes later, meal's done. All you've got to do is salt and pepper to your taste. If you want a vegetarian version, just remove the chicken.
It's Friday tonight and we normally have some kind of Mexican type dish on a Friday. So tonight we are going to have nachos with a bit of a twist. So I'm going to add a few more veggies to it to make it a little bit more healthy. Although because it's nachos, it's obviously still really bad. So as always, first things first, you need to get all of your ingredients ready. So to make the dinner, you'll need some Doritos or something similar, some cheese, and you'll need a few herbs. So you'll just need salt, pepper, paprika and ground cumin, a couple of cloves of garlic, avocado and sour cream to put on top, a courgette, a red, yellow, orange pepper, whatever you've got lying around, a few cherry tomatoes, some sweet corn and some kidney beans in chilli sauce. There's only 2 of us having dinner tonight, so all I've done is use half a courgette and half a pepper. I've basically just chopped the courgette into small pieces, so like this, peppers in similar sized pieces, and then quartered the tomatoes, and then you just want to put all of that into a frying pan with a little bit of oil and fry for around 5 minutes. After about 5 minutes, the veg should soften quite a bit, so then you want to add in the spices and the salt and pepper. At the same time as doing that, add in your garlic, mix the garlic and the spices into the veg for a few seconds. Once that's all mixed in, you then want to add in the kidney beans in the chilli sauce. So mix that in. You just want to add in a couple of tablespoons of sweet corn. After about 5 minutes, it's then ready to pour on top of your nachos. Want to get a really large kind of baking tray and scatter it with your tortillas. So I find the bigger the better, then it kind of covers the base. Then you just want to grab your veggie mixture and put it on top. Then before you put it in the oven, just sprinkle over some cheese. Then you just want to put it in the oven and bake it for around 5 to 10 minutes until the cheese is nice and crispy.